Alrighty, everybody, welcome back to the roundup. This is Dylan and Derek, my co-host. Today we have another episode of Inside Soundsport with a special guest, Randy Kratofil from Latrobe Music Center. Welcome to the podcast, Randy. How are you today?
Doing fine. Thanks for having me on.
Of course. How's it going, Derek?
Oh man, I'm here, man. I'm exhausted from Sunrise's rehearsals, man. I gotta go back this weekend.
Oh
Ugh,
yeah, I bet.
the age is getting to me. I got one more year in me. That's it. No more.
Just one more year? Oh, come on.
I've been doing this since 2010. I think I'm done. So, Latrobe. So, Mr. Randy Kratofil, tell us a little bit about yourself, like your marching history, background. What got you interested in this activity?
Well, I've been interested in drum corps when I first saw a show in Latrobe, when this goes back to my high school days. It was a senior corps show, and I just got excited for the activity. I mean, we've been watching on PBS before that from our local Channel 13 TV studio for the Pledge Break week. But I really got involved with marching band first. I did Penn State Blue Band. I was a part of IUP Legend Marching Band, and another decade later, I did a stint with WVU Marching Band at Pride of West Virginia. But I did get to do drum corps when I finally got to work my master's degree in Pittsburgh when I was working at Carnegie Mellon, and I did join Steel City Ambassadors for their last ever season in '92. And that point on, I got hooked, and as much as I could, I had to leave the Pittsburgh area to go do other drum corps. I did West Shore, I did Bushwhackers, I did the Reading Buccaneers for 2 seasons, and then I finally finished up with Briggs in 2002. So every year I was leaving, I was going further and further away from Pittsburgh. So I have a lot of a love and interest for this. In 2003, I did put together a small group. We called ourselves G-Force. We went to DCI South, and that was about as far as the group got that year. Just some things that happened, and we were blindsided by a bunch of things, such as one of our members had a job transferred the next week, and he took him, his wife, and his 2 kids with him. So I was down 4 members right off the spot. Another member had an illness, took him out of it, and suddenly we're down to just going and doing small ensemble at DCA that year. So the passion's always been there to do this. Then in 2004, I went down to WVU, was taking some additional graduate courses down there, and I figured I'll jump in the band and have fun for another year and do another college marching band. So that's kind of my marching background. I've kept in this even to date. I did a couple years ago the band directors national. What was it? The band directors all marching band from. We did the parade in 21 Roses Parade in 2002, and then we took the same group I had reapplied to do Macy's Day, and then I've been accepted to do the parade for 21 Roses in 2026. So I keep active in this activity, and I have a lot of background doing teaching college. Also, I taught 2 different colleges, St. Vincent College, and I was an assistant band director at St. Francis University. So the years that I wasn't marching, I've been teaching. So that's kind of where some of my gaps are, because you can't always perform. Sometimes you got to teach the next generation, and that's what brought me here to Soundsport and Latrobe. So that's kind of the synopsis of my quick background of marching history.
Hey, I have one question for you. You say you marched at West Shoreman, right?
Yes, I did.
Do you know a man named Scott Cottrell?
The name is familiar, and I'm trying to place a face.
Yeah, because he marched West Shoreman. Me and him is real tight. We're up with Sunrisers. And,
Okay.
I marched with Fusion last year under him. And one of the corps was West Shoreman. I was like, I'm starting to meet more and more West Shoreman alumni every day.
They're all good men, all good people there. So
yeah.
So the thing with as I've been doing other courses, you still meet people that you marched with before. We just happen to divide, come back around, and meet up again. So
yeah.
Life has these really interesting twists and turns, and I think activity is, it is such a tight-knit community. You can't not meet someone that you didn't already meet, or someone who knows someone you met. So I think that's one of the cool things about this activity is who you meet and how you come your 6 degrees of separation. You can probably name everyone in every drum corps in the past 50 years if you start working that network. So
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. You said that you marched in DCA when it was going on. So how are your thoughts about the merger between DCI and DCA going on?
Well, I think it was an inevitable situation that was going to come to a head one way or the other. Um, when I set this room up behind me in 2001, when I was meeting architects, this room was specified and drawn up to be the exact size of what was at the time the DCA Soundsport stage. So we could have full rehearsals in here and not have to worry about, what's going to happen when we get to the DCA. And when DCA announced they were going and being absorbed or merging, however you want to phrase that, I mean, I wasn't there with the legal decision on how that happened with that. But as the two combined, the DCA version of what I was going to do with Soundsport just morphed into being the Soundsport from the Mini Core. So I think it's going to be a positive thing. There's a lot of learning curve involved with this because we did some DCA stuff in the past with some small brass ensembles, and you basically called DCA and said, hey, here's my music licensing, here's my proof of insurance. And everyone just shows up and we played, and that was it. No one cared. Last year, we had to do things like everyone had to sign contracts, and we had to go through this and that and the other. Things were extra steps, which probably should have been happening before, a little bit more tightening down of the screws and whatnot. But I think it's going to be a positive thing once all of maybe the small little, I'm not saying bumps in the road, but there are things that just I was unaware of that were different, and I just adapted because that's what we have to do. We have to adapt. I think once everyone adapts, it's going to be a positive thing. I do miss the Labor Day weekend side of things, but so far no one is. The people that are participating with me, it was Labor Day weekend for most part in the Pittsburgh area. There's a lot of school districts that are sometimes having their second football game. So getting students involved in the high school level was always difficult because they had to be committed to their high school marching bands, obviously, for Labor Day weekend. So getting done before band camp starts, I think, is a positive thing for me to be able to grow this in the next couple of years.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking because back in 2010, I marched with Gulf Coast Sound, and now they're Bio City Blues, and even like going from that to Fusion Core last year for DCI All Age, same thing. Everything was like real different. It was pretty much, I don't want to say strict, but more uniformed. So the contracts, like getting everything together, trying to set up certain dates. I think it's like I said, it is going to be a positive outcome for this. I can only imagine that it's going to keep growing, and I hope Soundsport can kind of lean in more towards the all age. Some of them go to all age and build it up to what it used to be. Because I miss a lot of those cores, like the Statesmen, the Renegades. I miss all those guys.
Yeah, the Renegades were a force of nature. They were awesome.
Yeah, I was surprised they came from California like that. I was like, wow, they really doing this?
Well, it's like a once a year adventure to come out, for that situation. And I think it was also part of how they pitched it to grow because, these cores that had really no outlet on the West Coast to do DCA, but let's all get together and let's get a flight and let's go and just, take names. And they came in and they put that first year out. I mean, that was just like, yeah, they just laid it on the line, and, it was learning curve for them too. And what was DCA going to give you as a positive, that this is going to check mark this and check box that, and so it became, for them a little bit of learning curve. I think coming out, they did a great show, taking nothing away from them, and as a fan, you always have to know which group should have placed higher or lower. I definitely think when I saw them their first year out, they should have placed higher, but it was also their first year in it, and what was the expectations of the judging from DCA, which was different than they probably were realizing how you read the sheets. So I don't know, it was a great time when Renegades came out. I was laughing at it.
All right. So why did you start Latrobe Music Center?
Okay, so the whole why of this place is I was teaching at St. Francis and COVID hit. And as we know as music educators, even those in the drum corps, what happened after COVID, everything just went down, it just went south. You couldn't rehearse without standing 10 feet away from someone. And I could see from a recruiting standpoint as a band director at college, how things were falling apart in the high schools and the middle schools and elementary schools with no fault of the band directors. They were doing an amazing job trying to keep it all together. That the writing was on the wall that you're already having, you're going to be behind the 8 ball in trying to get in recruiting for colleges. So I basically took a forced early retirement. I didn't have COVID. It wasn't that I had COVID and I took retirement. It was just the fact that the lay of the land was looking to be, I needed to get something happening for myself to be more in control of what was happening. So I found this abandoned, a couple years worth of abandoned little grocery store, about 10,000 square feet, nice high ceilings in it, no beams in the middle of the place. And so I said, this is the place where I could do, at the time, get a mini core going and do a community music outreach where we can be a little bit more relaxed as we're coming out of COVID. That some of the school districts were not being as relaxed as soon as they probably could have been. And in hindsight, and all this stuff, I mean, I'm not trying to debate the COVID thing here. In hindsight, yeah, there's a lot of things that we probably could have done sooner, but the reality is we didn't. But the purpose of getting this up and running was to basically as an outreach for community music or co-curricular music as it might need to be. And so sat down with an architect, figured out what needed to be done here. It's going to be a building that's not going to just have one large rehearsal suite like I'm sitting in right now. There'll be a small rehearsal suite. There'll be a recording studio, lesson teaching suites, which will be available to the community members to come and teach lessons. I'll have a small retail outlet in the front. And so those are all things that are going to be packaged into getting this going. My able to interface with people coming in to buy valve oil, mouthpieces, mutes, reeds, stuff like that is the perfect way to recruit for an organization and the perfect way to do advertising for your music store is to support an organization. So from a business side, I've put those two things together, and that's why we're here right now. And now it's just a matter of getting some people involved. We are in the process of getting a 501c3 started. Up until this point, I've been running this like a community band where I just run it. I know the DCI would like to see the 501c3, so we're getting that happening. Again, I mean, there's things that the DCI had required that, you know, if I was just going to show up at DCA with a brass ensemble, I wouldn't have to worry about an incorporated 501c3. I would just show up and play like we did in the past. So these are things that, you know, all putting together. That's why we're here right now. And it's just been a fun, wild ride. I'm hanging on tight for a lot of things. And so, you know, right now our focus is just getting members, having fun. We're not worrying about scores, which I really like about the Soundsport model is we're just there for a rating, you know, bronze, silver, or gold, and just gonna have fun. And then as we prove the product and then we keep going back, we're gonna instill more confidence in people to come and join us. So that's kind of where things are at the moment.
Okay, so how are your interest levels for your organization, and do you see yourself or have any plans on going to all age division, or are you going to stay in the Soundsport?
Well, what I've committed to, and I've told everyone last year, is I'm committed to a 5-year exploratory on the activity in the area. If that means in year 6 with 501c3 and the membership said, hey, we want to go and try to do all age and do multiple shows all summer long, then we're gonna make that happen. Right now, my focus is on just having fun at Soundsport, just doing the performance again in August in DCI, and next year adding some maybe community performances. So that is kind of the part and parcel with where I am right now with what that looks like going forward from here. And I forgot what your other question was because I jumped to your question. So if you repeat your first part of your question, I would be more happy to answer that.
Oh, my apologies. I was saying, how are the interest levels coming in for the organization?
Yeah, so we have what I consider to be strong interest from local community and friends at this point. I have members who are 13. I have members who are in 68 years old. I don't want to, you know, put too many people in that higher age group because I'm not, you know, so happy about that. They don't want to admit that they're that old. But we have a broad range of commitment. I started this ensemble with the idea of being 18 and up. And I had some parents say, hey, I'll play if my kids can play too. Well, I'm happy with that because then that helps me out with the DCI information with having minors on site. Their parents are right beside them the entire time. So I have 3 minors in the group. And I think right now, when averaged out, The average age is 33. So of the 18 members that we have on the list, I think we're doing pretty well with a good spread of ages. And with a 501c3 and taking care of some of the details that DCI wants, I will be opening this up next year to anyone from freshman year in high school up. Just show up, and my whole policy here is just, if you can play an instrument, you show up and you can commit to performing with us, that's all you have to do. There's no dues, there's no audition fee, I don't make anyone go and fundraise for things. Everything's paid for and everything's taken care of. All they have to do is show up and play and enjoy themselves. So as we grow with that sentiment, and if the sentiment says, okay, we want to go to all age, core and compete all summer long, well then at that point we're gonna have to talk about finances. And so that would be also part of the discussion. If we want to go in 4 years from now, we're going to start broaching that to DCI, that we're going to apply for that. Then we're going to have a serious conversation with the membership that, are you willing to pay a little bit more? And I pay something toward this because we can't float the entire season and traveling every weekend in the summer somewhere to do this. So, but the interest is good. It's all been word of mouth predominantly through here. I've done some advertising on Facebook, putting stuff up in the Western Pennsylvania Band Directors Board. So it is, as someone who was with Steel City in '93 when they closed down, I was in charge of trying to do recruitment as a graduate student to Carnegie Mellon and had some connections with some college bands. Recruitment is hard. And we all know that. And I learned right away, if you ask someone once and they say, I'm interested, and you say, okay, rehearsal's on Saturday, how can I get you there? And they don't respond, they're not interested. So it's been kind of this recruiting by streamline, learning experience. If you chase someone too much, they're going to shut down and not show up, and let it just grow organically. There's two ways that I found to really grow a group. And number one is you have some sort of gimmick. And in Latrobe, my gimmick could possibly be, because we have flights from Latrobe to Orlando every day, that we go to, if I could afford it and say, okay, we're going to have everyone go to Disney World every weekend, because that would be a good gimmick to get a lot of people here real quick, right? Or you just have to grow it organically and slowly with quality. And so you put a quality product out, and then people are going to be attracted to a quality product. So that's kind of where the direction I'm going. We did a great job last year at Soundsport getting a silver rating, and our music score was very good. And we didn't do movement because it was a new adventure for a lot of people, and they didn't feel comfortable doing movement. Some of them haven't marched in quite a while. So I just did a couple of horn flares, and that was about it. So given the fact we didn't move, and we just did a couple of horn marks, and we did a good silver rating, that was what helped get some other people in here this year, because they told their friends, and their friends like, oh, it was good, and you did go to DCI. Okay, let me come down to rehearsals. So that's why I think we're doing a good job here with membership across the board.
Okay.
How do you guys keep your tuition at zero? Do you guys take a bus down to Indy, or do you guys carpool, or how does that all work?
We have a bus scheduled. Last year we took basically a 15-passenger van, because we had 13 of us, and I drove the equipment truck with another person. So last year was 13 members. So we fit pretty economically. This year we're going to have a small motor coach. Again, we'll take an equipment van with us. And how this is getting done for free for everyone is simply the fact that I enjoy the activity, and being in this early retirement, and still plenty of time to do this. My choice was I could go to Reading, I could go to Rogues Hollow, I could go somewhere else and do an all-age group. But do I leave Friday night? Do I get a couple hotel rooms? Do I do all my meals, all my travel back and forth, wear and tear on my body, wear and tear on a vehicle? The same amount of money I could spend doing that, I put into this to make it affordable and free for everyone, because it's still my hobby and I was going to spend that money anyway. But this way I can grow something here, so I don't have to go off to a Reading or drive up to Syracuse to play with, So those are things I was looking at doing in 2021. Like, what was I going to do now that I'm, in early retirement? I can make this happen for people at the same amount of money that I was going to be spending out of my pocket to go join someone else.
Okay, cool.
So what are your goals for this year coming for the season?
Yeah, so our season goals are the same as last year, and that is go to DCI and perform at Soundsport. Last year was as a nail biter at the end because as we were getting closer and closer to DCI Performance Week, we still hadn't had a percussionist show up, and we finally got a community member to agree to come and perform. And with 3 rehearsals, he did an awesome job laying down time for us for the show. And so this year I'm a lot more relaxed because I have 18 people. Every instrument is covered with the exception of trumpet 2 and trumpet 3 at the moment. But we have solid performers on every part. So right now, I think we're in a good position here for growth, because if someone wants to come and join us now with only 9 rehearsals left, they're going to have someone solid next to them who's already playing the part correctly. They don't have to worry about being the only one on the spot. And our growth is pretty much going to be capped at 30 horns and about 10 percussionists. And that's about what I can comfortably fit inside this room acoustically. Now, physically, yeah, we can fill up more people in here. But when you're playing all out on a bunch of brass instruments, it's probably better we don't get more than 30 people in here. And other things for growth I'm looking for in the future, trying to get a guard started. I've been reaching out to some community members to start. This is almost the size of a small elementary gym in size. So getting someone who wants to start up a small A guard independent. I've talked to some people that, we may be doing some other branching out of some other musical performances. So Latrobe Music Center as the building itself is in its mission is to try to get as much community music happening as possible, to give everyone an option to come and perform something. And it may not be Soundsport. If someone wants to do percussion ensemble, I have more than enough percussion equipment here to do, traditional percussion ensemble, quality music. If someone wants to come and teach percussion, they can show up here and there's multiple marimbas, multiple timpani, concert equipment that they can do more than just sitting in their basement teaching a drum set to someone. So I'm trying to get this set up as a go-to place. With the Music Center, I also have a large assortment of clarinets, a large assortment of saxophones, flutes. So if someone is going to come here and teach clarinet and wants a clarinet choir, go in that room and there's a whole bunch of bass clarinets. There's alto clarinets, there's a contrabass clarinet, there's a soprano clarinet. Let's have a clarinet ensemble. Let's have a saxophone ensemble. So as this grows organically, I'm giving a lot of options, but I'm not trying to force a direction on anything. It's whoever shows up and wants to do something, have at it. The space is here.
I like to plan. I like to plan in the future endeavors that Latrobe Music Center has to offer. You're doing pretty great things. For this year.
That's remarkable that you're getting the indie for free with renting a bus and stuff. That's pretty remarkable.
Yeah, especially in today's age where everything's going up with inflation and stuff. It's like ridiculous. Poor Dave is over here stressing like, dear God, how am I gonna get this core up here? And it shouldn't have to be like that, but unfortunately, times change and things happen. Like I said,
it is expensive. It can get very expensive. Now, one thing I'm trying to do to keep the costs down here is I am the instructor. I'm not hiring a bunch of instructors. As we grow forward, that'll be part of a budget situation. Yes, that'll happen. But with a 18-piece group, having taught college marching bands and other high schools, this is something I can definitely manage. It's in my wheelhouse to handle the group that we have. If we start getting, like I said, for next year, a season for a guard, that's going to have to be a guard instructor because I am not a guard person. and even if I stay at a Holiday Inn, I'm not going to be a guard person.
So, have you ever did a show reveal, or do you mind giving us a little teaser of what it is?
So our show is called Fantasy, and it's the music of blood, sweat, and tears. And we are going through, I basically, because of the time limit for Soundsport and having traditionally been someone who writes long shows, to get a couple of pieces of music together, this is written as a medley. So we're gonna have some short pause points, but you think about this, it'd be more along the lines of a brass band medley or concert band medley in arrangement style. With who we have here. So I have some keyboard percussionists who are here, and they're going to have some interludes to get us through some sections. My set drummer is rock solid. He's a high school student. Who's been state jazz band. So he has this book, like, he could wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning and say, here's your sticks. Rub his eyes and lay down and play it for you. So, which is a great thing to have, because that's the growth point of most of the groups, is that you have a solid rhythm section behind you, whether it's a battery or someone like in our case, I'm playing a trap set. That's the difference between, getting a bronze and a silver or a gold rating. So,
what's the time limit for Soundsport?
So they want you on and off in 10 minutes, and so you figure. Last year, our show I programmed with 6.5 minutes, and we went about 15 seconds overtime. Now, no one came and slapped my hand, but I want to make sure that I'm keeping honest within that time. So my show is 6 minutes on the nose this year. You basically have 2 minutes to run your equipment on, get yourself set up, kick it, and then 2 minutes to get everything back off. And while you're getting your stuff off, the next group is coming on. They have a lot of groups and to perform. There's a lot of groups who are interested in Soundsport, and I don't want to be told you can't do it next year because you messed up this year. So I'm doing everything I can to keep everyone happy and that we're doing this performance. And last year we also did the performance in Indianapolis at the Light on Music Education, and we'll be doing that also Friday night before the Soundsport group performs on Saturday morning.
You heard it here first, folks. You better go to it.
What is like your travel then for when you guys head out to Indy? What time do you guys leave and such?
Sure. So we'll be leaving Friday morning at about 7:00. It's ostensibly a 6-hour straight shot on Route 70. So we don't have to move other than just going down Route 70. We will do a pullover probably somewhere west in Columbus and have lunch. We'll get checked into the hotel in Greenfield, Indiana. We'll get a bite to eat there and then head into town to do the performance, get back to the hotel. The hotel's like 40 minutes away. It's a good blend between getting far enough away so that we're not getting stuck with a high bill for rooms, but also that we can still get into it at a reasonable time. And then Saturday morning, we wake up early. We've got to be in the lot. I'm not sure what the early call time is, but they do close the lot down, so we have to get the bus and the equipment truck in, and that's about the extent of. The travel is pretty simple for us. It's just 6 hours on the same interstate. There's no cross traffic, no taking multiple leaps and bounds. And the only way we can make it easier is if I could get Spirit Airline to take a flight from Latrobe to Indianapolis. So as soon as that happens, then we can stick everyone on a plane for $35 and we could go fly out and back and just get a bus for us on the other side. But travel-wise, it's a pretty easy move. My membership is pretty much local. I do have a couple people that are coming from about 60 to 65 minutes away, an hour and a half. Sometimes traffic backs them up and they get a couple minutes late. But pretty much, I'm talking everyone is within a half-hour drive, with the exception of a few people for our rehearsals. And then, it's just a real comfortable ride out for them. Everything's taken care of. They just get on and then they ride out and we take care of them the rest of the way.
That's pretty awesome. Wow.
Yeah, man. You make it sound easy.
Well, so right now, as running this as an independent person running this, it is kind of easy for me because if I make a decision to do something, I don't have to go to a board of directors and talk to them and get them to approve it. I just make it happen. That is the side. That is the one side about not having a 501c3 at the moment. I can make things happen spontaneously with my vision as I need to have it done. And again, I'm not spending more money than I would spend if I were going to go to another drum corps for the summer. And I put that money aside and I take out of that account, and I don't drain the account at the end of the season. So the travel for me to go somewhere else would be far more expensive than me giving this group to the people to come and perform and do this.
Okay.
All right, so you pretty much told us your plans for beyond 2025. I have a question. What did you see DCI All Age last year? World Championships?
So we couldn't see it because we were performing at the time DCA All Age was happening. I know that would and the problem is that they are such a packed venue. Things are going to overlap. That's one of the things that is going to be a growth point for all this is that we get our own time slots. I've heard some great things about it, and I tried to catch as much flow margin as I could with that. But I wish I could have been inside the stadium, but obviously that's my performance time at the same time.
Yeah, they should do a better job of that, so that way some of the Soundsport kids and staff could come and enjoy DCI All Age. They should be able to. I think it's it's different now. Well, it went back to its old ways. So like the class finals on Friday and All Out War on Saturdays. But y'all still perform. No, but y'all perform on Saturday, correct?
Right, we perform on Saturday, and it could be anywhere between 10:30 and before DCI final starts. And then, and the other thing I gave all my members last year is they all got a free ticket to DCI finals. So that was also an incentive to come and do this group. So that'll happen again this year for everyone. As soon as we get done performing, we're going to watch the rest of the Soundsport, have something to eat at the food festival, and then they meet me at the gate, and I get everyone scanned off with the Ticketmaster.
Okay, cool.
That's pretty cool. Wow. How does everything work with that many groups fitting in the Soundsport? How do they do all that?
It's kind of I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I think it's some amazing planning on the part of those involved to get us moving and getting us lined up and keeping it moving. I mean, that's I think what with everyone there was very courteous, and they're like, you got to get ready to gate, you got to get here. Everyone's communicative with us, so no one was asking questions. What are we doing next? And they just kept a good flow going with all the groups and had everyone lined up and staged, and we were in and out. And I think they did an excellent job, especially last year being their first year, at getting some of the other groups added into this. And us being a first year group, and I wasn't sure what to expect. And I got there and it was like, I didn't have to ask any questions. It was just like, do this. We did it, and it was fun. So
yeah. So like, it's pretty much like WGI is, Dylan. Me being a judge now for TIA and TOB, now I can see the inner works of how things go, and it's like a well-oiled machine. Like, we have one guy at the opening to bring groups in, tell them how to set up and everything. Then we got another judge on the other side. They'll tell them, "Hey, enter out this way." It's just like flowing water. Out, so that way people don't get no time penalties or anything. Mm-hmm. Now, granted, some things might happen. Like for me, for instance, when I first did WGI in 2010 with Imperial, one of our synths got busted, and we set up everything perfect and so forth. But the wires got messed up during the travels, and we ended up getting like a 0.02 penalty or a 0.10 penalty or whatever, and that caused us to be top 12 in the finals. All thanks to Green Thunder Percussion. Thanks a lot. But yeah.
Well, the activity kind of is live by the sword, die by the sword. And when you have the electronics, and that actually happened to us at the start of our show. We were ready to start, and my keyboard player goes, and I look back, and she's like, there's nothing happening. So I ran back, I rebooted the synthesizer, and the show went. So that was probably our 15 seconds we went over, because we had a pretty good times, management happening before we got out there. So that happens all the time. I mean, and I was teaching a high school marching band, competitive marching band, and all season long, they had mics on the flute player for the closing solo. And at finals, you hear the microphone, whatever reason, after it just, and you felt so bad for her, and you felt so bad for the group, but there's nothing you can do once you're in live motion and you're doing electronics. Anything can go wrong at any time, and it's really no one's fault. So.
Was it a Bluetooth piece that was hooked up to the
No, this is predating some Bluetooth microphones. This was just a RF transmitter receiver setup.
Oh, okay.
And we got done. The battery still had 9 volts on it when she finished and got off the field. It wasn't the battery's fault. It was something that with that channel that night at that particular venue just wouldn't let that happen, because everyone was on a different channel. She was the only one on that channel, so the other soloists went fine. And so, I just felt so bad for her performing, because she's done such a beautiful job all season long. But it is what it is at that point. You can't stay top of the show. We got to fix this, because everyone has to keep moving. And so,
I think that happened to Santa Clara. What was that? 2017, or I think it was, what's that show called? Scarazard. Piano soloist was going in the beginning, and also you just hear I was like,
there's nothing you can do.
I was like, keep going.
And hopefully electronics catch back up with you at some point.
I mean, it was just like, I want to say about maybe 2 8-count measures, and then the pit just automatically comes right in. I say, wow, it couldn't get any closer. At that point.
Well, you're well trained when you can play through a mistake like that. So
they still did it beautifully. I think that happened in finals, if I'm correct. I was like, wow. I was like, I say that sucks, but I mean they still kept it going, still played beautifully. Horn line was great.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I enjoy it. I'm interested in seeing what's going to happen at All Age and World Class division this year. Because I know BD's going to come back with vengeance.
Oh yeah, yes. They don't take coming in less than first lightly.
Yeah, I was telling Scott and him, I was like, he said, so what do you think as a BD alum is going to happen this year? I was like, I said, it's the exact same thing happened in 2013. They got third place, and what happened in 14th? They broke a record. I said, I'm not going to say they're going to break a record again. Now, if they do that, that's going to be ludicrous. But I'm pretty sure they're going to come back first place this year because that last year's show wasn't that bad. But I think design-wise, visually, it was like all over the place. Yeah, that's why I really think that really got them. But Blue Coast was just like on another level that year. I don't know what they was doing.
Yeah, it was the night and day difference from my vantage point. That there was. Now I did appreciate the fact that they basically masked over the end zone areas to shrink their field. So I think that also helps in a visual standpoint when you don't have to worry about edge of end zone and you've blocked yourself in. So that was my take from it. You don't reduce your space, and that might help you.
Yeah, definitely. What makes Soundsport special to you?
I like the concept of the Soundsport as I enjoyed the concept of the mini core in that you can do quality music with a small group in a small performance venue against other small groups in that same performance venue. I mean, we're ostensibly looking at other groups having about the same numbers, maybe up to 50. There's going to be some high school bands there and some drumline battles. We're going to have a lot more than that. But I think it's great on multiple sides. You have a small group that is very mobile. So when we do go to Indianapolis, I'm not bringing 3 buses with me. I'm bringing 1 bus. I'm not bringing a food truck and a freezer truck and a cooler truck and equipment vans. I'm bringing 1 equipment van, and we're eating it along the way. And it also makes it very economical. So if and when we do decide to go to All Age and we do some summer shows, if we keep the membership small and we keep this in a community setting, that I think we will be able to manage some of the finances better for things. I mean, I don't need to go and fundraise for a $50,000 fuel bill for the group for this season. Those are things that are not on my plate. But I mean, that's the things that other groups face is they have to fundraise for all of this expense to do this. And the demographics of the area, we don't live in a very, as opposed to, like LA or Chicago or the New York, Philadelphia, DC metropolitan areas, we have, a smaller market of available musicians. And if we keep this, like be able to put on 1 bus, 54 people, I think that's going to be a perfect size to grow this. You can still do a quality product with small groups. And we look at all the wonderful things that are happening in WGI Wins. You don't have 100 brass out there. You have some groups that are out there with 30, 40 brass. So those are positive things that I see with being small and being agile to be able to react better when things change. I think that's all, that's part and parcel with my vision of this activity and why it makes it a good venue. It's, DCI had this set up so that you participate in Soundsport and you improve, then you can apply to become All Age. Or if we decide we're not going to be All Age and I'm going to just bring in students, then we can morph to doing other things within the DCI organization and getting our books looked at and our programs looked at. So I think it's a good growth point, stepping off, but it's also somewhere that I think you could live happily if you just want to be in this niche of a performance ensemble.
Mm-hmm. That's like Steel City, how they're trying to come back. I think that's what they're doing there. I think that's pretty cool because they haven't been on the field for so long and trying to come back to make a group to go into All Age and trying to bring back the tradition of what they used to have. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, they're about 45 minutes away from me, and the other group in the area is Mon Valley. So those are three of us, and we're all basically. I mean, I'm looking at it from. I'm not trying to speak for them, but we all fit in our communities. So we're not, stepping each other's toes. At this point, I'm not taking anyone from Steel City. Steel City's not taking anyone away from me. Neither one of us are taking anyone away from Mon Valley. So I think that as a trio within a very close proximity, we can support each other with growth and performances locally. So I think it also works well in this smaller venue.
Definitely. And I think we see a lot of that with the way DCI is growing. The groups that are coming into DCI are small community-based groups that don't have to pull from the other groups. They can start their own thing and then build from what they're building. Their root base in the community to growing out to stay locally, but yet close-knit as well.
Yes, and the close friends you make and you keep, I think also what helps this situation, because after every rehearsal, I make it it's somewhat mandatory. We all walk 2 blocks away and we all have pizza together. So
Cool.
that kind of also adds to the camaraderie and builds these lasting friendships. Everyone, we all at the big table, we're all talking, different conversations are going on, and it's not just about drum corps, it's about life, and it's about what great things people have done this week, they've done last week, what they're looking to do next week. So I think that's also part and parcel of how this works well as a small group, because you get into a larger group and you might all sit down for dinner together, but you don't really have a chance to talk to everybody.
That's true.
I think there's something special about keeping the group small when you're trying to just start something new, because, like you said, you're building them relationships that aren't just 150 members, but it's 30 members that know each other's bad days, good days, and that can make the group stronger as you get together and perform at different events, whether it be Soundsport or other DCI events, or go to parades. Are you guys planning to do any parades or anything?
No, we don't. We're not doing any parades. I do have some members who are a little bit older, and they are just not comfortable with doing a parade.
Okay.
And so, without us going and buying a trailer and sitting in a trailer, which to me defeats the purpose of a parade. I'm an old-fashioned stickler. You got to march it down the street. As we grow and we get other membership in here, we will have someone else cover the part, and we can do parades. Again, that will be something for next year. We're going to look at other performance opportunities. There are lots of concert in the park opportunities in this area.
Okay.
But as we're growing a small Soundsport group, the rehearsals in January, February, and March, you really need to start working on music if you're going to do a concert performance as well as your 6-minute show. If you don't have enough members showing up, that kind of defeats my ability to go ahead and say to these groups, yes, I'll sign your contract to perform. I'll sign your contract to perform. I know in my heart, in January, February, and March, we're going to have people by the time to get to DCI. And we could probably have done concerts this year, but by March, we didn't have all the bodies we have right now. So I wasn't feeling confident enough to say, yes, I'll sign a contract to do this arts festival, I'll do a contract to do this performance, and we're going to start doing this extra music to rehearse it with the brass and percussion we have. So as we go into next year, that's one of my focus points, is to get people to commit sooner so we can have rehearsals, so that when Memorial Day weekend starts and there are parades and concerts in the parks to perform, we can do that, and then that also puts the money back in the coffers to offset expenses.
That's pretty awesome. I like how you are starting this thing and you really have a good grasp on where you want the organization to go from year to year to year, and that you have a plan as you don't want to grow too fast, but yet you want to grow at a steady pace as you're getting more members in and such.
Quality
I think that's
over
really
quantity.
Cool. Well, yeah, you always want to start with the quality of what your performance, because if you don't put a quality product out, you're not going to start recruiting people, and you won't grow at that point. So it was my contention from day one that we're going to do this right. I mean, some of the older members have never had a click track before in their life, and they can understand why they're having a click track. So, but those are things that have to happen in this modern era to make sure that you have the quality product out there. So yeah, I didn't start this lightly and do early retirement from college without a plan to teach in the college. And I've invested quite a bit financially in this to renovate this building. So there has to be a plan involved before I'm going to
definitely
do this, because this is my post-retirement, early retirement fun gig, and till I can actually reach a retirement age here. So that's quite a few years away.
Okay.
So how do you find out more information about you and your organization for the people out there that don't know yet?
Sure. So we have a Facebook page, Latrobe Music Center, which we advertise our rehearsals on. It will become also the Facebook page for the retail operation, which is hopefully be finished up here with remodeling by September. The address is 602 Alexandria Street in Latrobe. Any Saturday, starting next Saturday through August 2nd, just show up at noon. If you want to play, bring a mouthpiece. We got horns. We have mallets for the percussion equipment. So if there's any college students out there that in the area that want to play and practice on marimbas, I've got a couple Rosewood 5-octave Adams marimbas that you can use 24/7 if you wanted to come here and sign them out and use the rehearsal space. Because if you're in college, you can't just go back to your college and use a marimba. I have also some, Adams copper timpani. I got a set of 5. I've got a couple sets of timpani here. So really, for percussionists, we could use a few more in the front ensemble areas, arenas of vibraphone and marimba. If you want to come and join us, there's a free equipment you can practice on all summer long if you're in the area. The phone number for the venue, for the store, and for the activity is 724-516-3871, and that gets answered 24/7. So if you want to call or send a text message about this, and anyone sends a text message and say, I'm interested, I can send you music immediately in a PDF to take a look at. So, so it's going to be it's really slipstreamed here. And all the music is also in the ensemble rehearsal room. We have a photocopier in the room. So if you forgot your music, guess what? Go to the folder, dig out your music, make a photocopy, put the original back in the folder, and no one's going to be, no one's going to be scrambling for music for you. So it's all self-serve. I try to make that easy for everyone here also. So that's the easiest way to find us. I'm also on Facebook under Randy Kratofil. So if you look at my name here at the bottom of the screen, if you're going to show it, then you can look me up on Facebook, friend me, and I'll give you all the information you want. And you can be as local as far away as you want to be. I mean, I have a member who's actually been flying up from Florida to join some rehearsals. She will be graduating college and moving to the area this summer. So I mean, for distance-wise, I think I probably win on a lot of world-class drum corps that I have someone who's flying up from Florida to come and help out with rehearsals for having a spot here for the summer. So
she got me. I drove from North Carolina to New Jersey for Fusion.
But the thing is, Spirit's very inexpensive for us to go from Florida to Latrobe. So I mean, I'm not saying that it's not inexpensive, but as far as airline tickets go, it's a pretty reasonable flight. I'll just bring as a mouthpiece because I got the trombone set in here. So.
Oh wow! Okay.
Oh man, that is good. You heard all the information. I'm gonna make sure I'll make sure I'll edit that in there for y'all, so that way it can be up there and you get all that information for you.
Sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, Dylan, you got any other questions for him?
Honestly, I think that's it. Any closing thoughts, Randy, for anything or?
Well, I just want to say to everyone out there, do an activity somewhere. I don't care. I mean, and I've already told some of my members, if you want to go, if you're underage and you want to go to a junior corps, and I'm all for that. I mean, that's what the activity is about. I'm not here to keep anyone captive in this group, but I think everyone should go out and do something. And that's the reason why I started the whole Latrobe Music Center concept, was to get people involved in music after COVID, get back into what it is to play in a band, be part of something bigger than yourself, and just do it wherever you are in this country. Do it. And if anyone has any question about how I got this started up, anyone reach out to me about what I did and how I got this to happen, I'm more than happy to go and give you all the secret recipe, the secret sauce. There is no secret sauce. I'll be more than happy to explain what I did and how I got it done. And so someone else can replicate this on where their hometown might be. Because it doesn't have to be expensive to get this up and running. And so that's my whole takeaway from this is just, let's get after make music again, because COVID was just a bad thing and we got to put that behind us and just make music and have fun again.
Yeah, we got to keep
That
striving
is
for
so
it.
cool. That's awesome.
All right. Hey, Mr. Randall Kratofil. There we go.
Just don't
It
be
was
late for dinner. I'm fine.
hey, it was an honor to talk to you, and I'm happy that I've got to know Latrobe Music Center, the history behind it, and all the effort that you put forth into this organization. You're doing a really good job for not only the youth but also the well-seasoned musicians in your group.
Well, it's been an honor and privilege to talk to you guys, and again, I mean, I just been thrilled to come here and be able to talk to you about this.
Oh,
Of
yeah,
course.
man.
Thank you very much. And what you're doing, building the Latrobe Music Center and for the community, I think it's going to be great. And I wish you guys the best of luck this summer. Hopefully I can watch you guys on the flow. That's incredible.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, everybody. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Roundup. If you like this episode, you can find us on YouTube. I'll post the link to the Latrobe Music Center, also the phone number, and that way you guys can get in contact. All right, everybody. Thank you very much for listening to this episode. This is Dylan and Derek, and have a great night.
Have a great night, Mr. Randall.
You too. Thank you very much.